Okay, hi everyone. Thank you, Arwa, for your hard work. Can you see my screen clearly? Do you see both sides? The one that has text for the document and the terminal. It's not clear? It's not clear? Oh, 1 second. Okay, give me a second. All right. Can you see that now? All right, is my voice clear? Oh, you want a break? A break? A break?
Guys, I would just suggest something, Shorok. Let's go like for around 20 minutes more, and then we will take a break for 15 minutes. All right?
Okay, all right, that will be
just concept, nothing in depth, nothing in actual coding. Just cover around 20 minutes, and we will take a 15-minute break afterwards. Sounds good?
Okay. Yeah. I hope you guys are okay with that. I'll not go heavy on the coding, all right? Just for the next 20 minutes, and then we'll take our break. Cool? All right, so I'm taking over from Arwa, and I'll be talking about adding pre-made templates and using Bootstrap. Have you ever heard of Bootstrap before? Okay, cool. What do you know about Bootstrap? Like, mention 2 main things maybe for me. HTML and CSS, all right. Templates for web design, UX and UI, ready templates. Okay. All right. So Bootstrap is what we would like to say it's a toolkit, a library. Let's stick to the term of saying that it's a front-end open source toolkit. And by that, it means that it can help you do a lot of things in regards to the design-wise, coding with your HTML and CSS, and things like that. So as some of you mentioned, yes, it is a good place to get ready-made templates, but you will find a lot of people using it and creating their own designs using this library. But mainly for it, what is cool about it is that it's amazing for its responsive design. So do you know what responsive means in web development? Anyone? Okay. The easiest way for me to show you what responsive means is that when I do this, right? You see how the website looks like? It doesn't look messed up. So if I shrink, if I expand, if I do this, everything still looks the same. Yes, it adapts to your browser, your screen size. You can check for mobile view. This is an iPhone X. This is a Pixel 2. Here's an iPad view. All right. So what's cool about this is that it allows you to make your design work everywhere. That's why a lot of us love using Bootstrap. Now let's go have a quick look on the Bootstrap documentation and what it offers for us, all right? For Django, the way you set up Bootstrap is that you don't need to download anything really. The easiest way is just to copy these links and add them to your heads. All right. So like you have a few scripts and CSS scripts and JavaScript, and these help you just link directly to the online Bootstrap library. So you can use all of its functionalities. All right. You can go through the main documentation if you want, but I'm just going to do a quick overview on the main capabilities of it. So let's go to content. All right. So Bootstrap is a collection of scripts, JavaScript, and CSS that are built to help you, what do you call it? What's the word? Make your own theme for your website, or like customize your website in an easy way. All right. And as we said, it's supported by almost all browsers, and it helps you with where is it? Yes, it helps you with its responsive design, so it would fit all of the devices that you can view your website on. It's easy for you to set up a theme. This is a product of Twitter. I'm actually not sure. I know that it's an open source tool, but I've never heard that this is by Twitter. Interesting. Okay, we'll look into that later. Yeah. Now, let's talk about the layout and what it includes. So first of all, it includes containers. So containers are parts. So let's start from here. So containers are like classes or tags in CSS that helps you, what do you call it, illustrate the sizes or the spaces that you want your content to take on your website. So for example, let's see if I can find an example here. On the grid, yes. All right, so how it works is that if you know what CSS is the language that you use to color your HTML code. So HTML are basically tags that are just to give you structure for your website, while CSS gives you the color and the vibrance that you want, theme, the feeling that this is your own creation. So the first part of it is grids. So grids are like basically the way you divide your website placement. So for example, you can see here that we have the main class, which is the container, as I said. This one defines the main box that you're going to work on, all right? And then you can define rows. So rows tell you like, it's exactly like you're looking at a table. But why it's, what do you call it? Why would you use the classes from Bootstrap is that it gives you more freedom when you want to make more adjustments and give the flexibility of that responsive design and feel. All right. So there are different main grid options. You have a column. You have column that is small, column that's a medium size, column that's a large size, and a column that's an X large size. And each one of them matches up to a specific pixel, what do you call it, range. So 450 is probably for small devices, 720 is for bigger devices, and so on, and you go like that. This makes it easier for you instead of you having to go and measure each device sizes and try to make different variations of your website to fit every mobile view, every laptop view, every tablet view. and it just does the calculations and does that, all of that for you. All right. So for example, here you can have a 1-to-1 ratio. Here you can have a 3, what do you call it, columns in one row, but both of them are the same size. Like the rows are the same size. Previously, what we used to use, in normal CSS, we use something called floating tags. So you can push your what do you call it, your section of your web page or your content in one side. You try to align it with that. But what's amazing about using Bootstrap and its classes, the provided classes, is that you can use the Flexbox feature. So Flexbox is what allows you to maintain your content without having to debug or to figure out how to position content specifically on each screen or in each side of a screen. You can read more about that on W3 School, and it explains to you here what is a Flexbox layout and how it handles your layout on your website. So before that, as I said, we used to use something called positioning your elements using floating tags and things like that. And the way it's different from them is that it organizes your content based on the size of the screen. All right, let's do something here. So to set up, Arwa has set up for us a really nice template, all right? That will allow us to use it immediately in our content. And to do that, we can set it up from here, all right? Where is it? So you see there's a really huge 3 pages of code. The easiest way for us to do that is to actually use something called get. So get is a version control language. We have already saved this code somewhere on the internet, and through it, it just pulls your code and put it for you. So what I'm looking for here is that we're supposed to be setting up the static file first. Yes. Okay. Here we are. I will do my right screen. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we need to have a folder under our project directory, and that project will have the static files of your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript for your template. We will first do this. So make sure that you're in the same directory mentioned, which is your blog directory. So you have to be inside here. So, all right, you make sure it's virtual directory /blog, and that's where you're supposed to clone the repository at. All right. Okay. And it's cloning the file. All right. Now we should have, where is it? Well, perfect. It's not showing up here. Yeah, now it's showing up. All right, make sure to rename that file to static. Okay. Wait for that. All right, now we got our static file. You can see that it has admin, it has CSS, IMG, JavaScript, SCSS, vendor files. All of these are related to the, what do you call it? The Bootstrap files for this template. Now, as I said, Get is a very essential tool for developers. I think Arwa will explain a little bit more about it a little bit later. So for now, you just need to know this command, which pulls those files to you. Now we need to do a specific setup in the settings file. So inside the settings file, let's go to the settings file first. Are you guys following up? All right. You don't see the folder. If you can write this ls, all right, and see what it prints for you here. Tell me, what do you have? Okay. Oh, you mean on the list? You can just like try and close and open one of those arrays and it will show up for you. All right. Now back to the settings file. Make sure to scroll to the very bottom. All right. You have here at the very end something called static_URL. Right. So this here we need to configure the static root in the settings file. So so Django would understand that we're using the template file, the static files for our template, right? That's just one line that you have to add here, and we're done with this, okay? Now the next step is to open the main URL, okay? Are you guys following? All right. So on the main URLs, what you have to do is also add the static root. So Django would understand that this is the direct where you're pulling your files from. All right. All right. And make sure to import static here also. And import settings. All right. That should be fine now. I'm just finding static. Okay. Yeah, okay, now it's fine. All right. So this will tell Django that the URLs that are linked in the static folder has the same path that's specified in the settings file. All right. Okay. Now let's move to the structure and how we can use Bootstrap code in our template. All right. So in the code, there are like 3 pages of code. All right. For in the document for post_detail on the HTML. So this is to give us the what do you call it? The HTML file for the detail page. So instead of copying all of this, what you could do is you could still use the get clone and copy base HTML. So make sure that the name of the file, and we have to be inside the template folder. All right. So to be inside the template folder, say cd template, press enter, and then say git clone for that. Git clone inside there. All right. Okay. In the process, we got the base HTML file. Just right. You can just pull this outside here. Yeah. Right. And delete this. Now we have here the base.html file that has all of the content for the template. All right. So we can go through a little bit of it, see what makes it different. You already seen here in the post details and post list, very basic things for HTML tags. This one might feel a little overwhelming with all of the content that it has. At the top, we have something called load static files. This is what all of the files that we've put in the static folder. Can I slow a bit? Okay. So what I'm saying here is that the base.html file has a lot of tags, all right? And some of them might feel very overwhelming because you haven't seen them before, but that's okay. So the first thing that you see here is a Python snippet inside your HTML file. It says load static files. So this statement helps Django identify that you need to connect to the folder that we just set here, the static folder that has all of the, the links and the files for the Bootstrap content, all right? And then you have the head tag, which you already know, and you have some meta tags. So you don't really need to know these. These are more related to help Google and other browsers to understand what your website is about. So you can put like information about it. So what do you do, like description on your website, who's the author of this website, and things like that. So let's take a quick break, all right? And we'll pick up on this. Cool. I think that's enough talking. Yes, there will be. So there will be a quiz at 7 on almost all of the things that we've discussed previously. So I hope you guys have been following so far. And there will be also a survey before the closing ceremony that we'd like you to fill. Through that survey, there will be a giveaway. If you'd like to enter that raffle, make sure that you actually fill that survey. All right. Ghadir, who has a question? Shaheen, how do I take the base HTML file out of the folder? So first you need to rename that folder because you're going to keep getting a warning that says it will overwrite the file that's already there. So for example, rename that folder, remove the .html from that folder and just name it base. Okay, and then you can pull the file out of it. Cool, Shaheen. Ghadir, can I see the URL? So py file, please. Yes, sure. So let's go here, and this is your file. So what I did is that I imported two things, the static function and the setting, all right? and just add this line that says static settings, static URL, the document root, which is settings.static root. All right, and these we have defined them in the settings file. If you want to see here at the bottom, we have the static URL and the static underscore root. Does that make sense, Ghadir? We're doing it on the URLs that are under the blog, as Arwa is saying. It's not the URLs under main. We're doing, because it's on the overall project itself, not just the application. All right? Any other questions? Okay, I'll be around if you need any help until the break is over. Okay? How long do we have for our break? I think we have Okay, guys. Should we continue? Who's ready? Do you have any questions still pending? Who's here? If you're ready, please say yes. Okay, cool. All right. So let's continue with the base file that we have. And let's see what we got. So back to our templates folder, we got the base.html. Okay. As I think there's a lot of tags that you might not have, like it might feel overwhelming to you, and it might not make much sense, but it's okay. We're gonna try and focus on what we can see here. So inside your body tag, you're gonna find new tags like the nav tag, and inside the nav tag, there are some keywords that are being used inside of it. So these keywords are what we call classes. And these classes are not like the classes you've seen in Python, but they are more related to CSS in the sense of how it looks like. I can try and see if I can show you how a CSS class would look like. Yeah, here it is. So this is usually how a CSS class would look like. All right. Yes, it is a style class. If you're familiar with CSS, you're gonna know that some of these keywords are what we use to style. So font size, you can define the font size in it, and you can define the color, you can define the font family, and just reuse this class instead of rewriting your styling every single time you want. Yeah. Okay. So the classes that we see here are predefined by Bootstrap. And if you want to see more of them, you can go to the components tab here on the Bootstrap documentation, and you could look for navs. All right. So navs are the tags or classes that gives you a default. Can we wait until more people are ready, please? Who's not ready? We're already past we're done with the break. It's okay. If there's anything like you want to know or any questions, you can just ask and we'll try to answer you as we go. All right. So we have a closing ceremony at 8, so we can have enough time to finish our content. If you feel like you're falling behind or anything, make sure to ask questions, and this session will be recorded and you can just review it again, right? And all of the things that we're discussing are there in the document that has been provided, right? So as I said, we have here a navigation, yeah. So Bootstrap gives you out of the box predefined classes with their own design and functionalities. And what is cool about them is that all you gotta do is just come and look at all of the different types of classes and their designs on the documentation and just copy paste the code itself and reuse it. You can find, so for example, this, what do you call it? This navigation bar was here aligned to the left, right? If you want to align it to the center, you can add a new class that's called justify content centered, and this class will put your navigation bar in the middle, right? You can say justify content and it will put it to the right, right? You can make a vertical navigation bar, you can make a tab-based navigation bar, a pills-based navigation bar. So that's it's the cool thing about Bootstrap. It just gives you the things, and all you have to do is just copy paste them and readjust them whatever way you want. All right. So yeah, so we have like many devs inside of it, and each one of them. Let's try and see if we can run this file and view it in the browser. All right, let's see. We go here, let's open web preview. Okay, let's see. Not connecting to something wrong. Oh, server is not running. Okay, no, that's running. Cool. So can you tell us every class is for what specifically? I meant to present what? I think that will be a lot of content to try and explain each class, but they're very concise, so you can actually understand them from what they stand for. Just 1 second. For some reason, oh, okay, change the post. Oh. All right. So this was the previous page that Arwa has been using. Inside the Bootstrap, all right, documentation, you can find, as I said, whatever component that you want to use. For example, a button, all right. Your button here would be btn as in class button from the Bootstrap library, and then the btn primary tells you which color this this button should be. So there's primary as in blue, secondary as in gray, success as in green, and you can actually just reuse these values themselves. So you're gonna see them repeating in everywhere. So there's also on cards here, for example, the way the cards are designed. If you scroll to the very bottom, you're gonna find colored cards as well, primary, secondary, success. So it's very what is really good about Bootstrap, as I said, their content is very well organized, and it's easy for you to understand what each class is used for. The part that might feel a little bit complicated when you try to use Bootstrap is when you're trying to use Flexbox and using the columns and the rows sometimes. But with practice, makes perfect. You get an error. Settings. Did you import settings in your URL? Okay. All right. If we now let's see. Okay. So remember the blocks that Arwa was using in her detailed pages and the list, right? We can actually change them so they would look fitting to our design. We need to import it in the main URL. Yes, amen. So for example, the first block that we have, if you look here in the base.html, there is a block here that says block content end block. So blocks are basically snippets that allows us to put a code, an HTML file inside this base HTML file without repeating the whole code in that base file. So all you gotta do is just make one base file and then just mark the places that you want to fit your snippets of code inside of it. So for example, inside here, we said that this is a block content, right? And we wanna display the list inside of it. So what we're gonna do is add this here before HTML, block content, and below it here, and block, all right? Cool. Now, if we try and come back here and refresh, this one. Why is it not showing? What did I miss? think we have something missing here. HTML, we come template. Yep, we're extending the template. Okay. Let's see why this is not working. Should I just paste HTML file. Oh, I think. Okay, 1 second. Trying to find something here. Where is it? Okay. Oh. Hmm. The template file. Yeah, okay. I know what's missing. Okay, so this was, okay. All right, so what was missing here is this file. Right. At the top of your post underscore list, or the one that you added your blog content on top of it, you have to add extend base.html at the very top, right? This is the line. I think it's the thing from the code. Or what? Yeah, it is. Okay, I'll add it here. You can see it. So you have to say extend base.html. Oh, that is also added. Right. Okay. Okay. So now if you try and refresh your page, here you go. Oh, does that work? Interesting. I wonder. It did not work. Interesting. I wonder. Okay. That did not work. Got that topic folder. Did it change the path, the setting? That's what is causing it. Okay, I think it's this one. Let's see. Go. Yes. Work. Okay, it's a typo. I think here. Yeah. So if you copied from the here, make sure that in the static format for the URL, you should be removing an extra backslash. So this here, it should say static slash, not slash, static slash, all right? Well, typos happen. Okay, so that fixes it. Back to the base HTML. So as I said, the reason why we use a base HTML is, okay, the reason why we use a base HTML is for us to not repeat the whole code as you see here, and it becomes cluttered, okay? We just define blocks inside of it, and all we gotta do is inside of our HTML pages for the details page or the list page, we just put it between blocks, right? Block, and you put at the beginning of it the extend space HTML, so it could know that you are trying to fit this code inside of your base HTML. And as you see here, this is the awesome blog that Arwa has made for us. Now, if you see here that the list part is not really styled yet, and that is because we have not added here in the list part the style. Yeah, I did copy. Yeah, we didn't add the classes for the styling of the list for using Bootstrap classes, all right? And you can find it here in the source. Okay. Unlike Python, HTML is not white space and indentation sensitive. So you can actually just do this. All right. Save, and let's refresh. And amazing. Does this look nice to you? And you see here, we have the navigation bar at the top. The image that I added before to one blog post doesn't show up. Yes, the reason why it doesn't show up is because we have not styled this part to show an image, all right? So for you to do that, you have to, let's see, what do we got here? You see this part here, there's an image source, post image, and I will have an alternative width and a width, right? So let's say I want to fit that. I want to fit that image, right? All right. So what do I do to do that? If we go to Bootstrap and look for image, or cards maybe, or something like that. Right. You can look at something like this. So you can actually use this, right? You can copy this. However, we're gonna do is come here and we will change the way the list content looks like. Okay, so you skip the container, you skip the row, you skip the class division, and you come here to the for loop for the post. Okay, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna paste this part and do the adjustments that we want. So for example, the title, right, will come here. Okay, and your content, change it to the post offer, and we'll say here, inside of this one. Example here. Right, and then you have here post date as well. For example, you want to do that here. And let's see, if you want to show the post text, you can do this, right? So inside of this text here, you can say post dot text, right? And let's clean up this part. Okay. Okay. I think if we refresh this, change the cards. Yeah, I think because we have our cards broken here, that's fine. But now you can see the different styling. We have your box, you have your title showing up, you have the text inside of your post and the author here. And on this side, you should have the image. So if you look here, we have here this tag is called card title. That's why we added the post title here. And this tag has a class called card text. So in this part, we're gonna fit the text of the post. And then we have here a muted text, right? And in this one, we're adding the post author and the post date. Cool. Now let's do also the post details, right? So one thing is left is that we need to connect the last part, of the template is to add the details page. So when you press on these cards, right? If you press on the card, for example, where is it? I ended up removing this by mistake. Where is it? Where is it? Might look confusing a bit, but in a second, I'm just adding the URL that was missing, which is this part, the A tag. So the A tag is an anchor tag that allows you to connect your pages together, all right? Okay, where are we? For example, it should be here. Put it around the text. And should be fine. Do this. Try and click on this. We don't have the on the details page the main template, and we have to do the same thing that we did here on the details screen. Is that you add the index, extend it, and your block as well. Okay. Don't need the HTML. You don't need the body. You don't need the head. Right. What you're gonna do here is just save this and refresh. Again. Interesting. Should work. Let's see why this is not working. Again, I think the path is not configured right for this one. Because if we go back, just see. Let's be able to figure out why this is not working. Fix the template. We're extending it on the list page, but not the detail. Okay, let's check our URL. Under the application. Okay. We have this is fine. Let's see. Interesting. So we don't have here the load static, but it's working fine. Let's try and load the static on the detail route. Maybe this would fix it. Okay, that's not working. Wait, should be after it. Oh, it's not. Interesting. Well, I guess the picture should be in a static file. try and see. I'm wondering if this is something to do with the detailed file itself. Because everything is working the same way. We could try and use the post list code, right? And see why this is not working. Interesting. Base.html, extend, dot content. Another interesting thing. Not loading the static files for some reason. You're getting an error when you run the server. What is the error that you have? That the port is in use. Python manage run server AT. Okay, since for some reason the detail screen is not working. Does any of you were able to get the post underscore details to work? Did any of you were stopping the server and starting again, like for the template problem? Well, you could be right. Let's see. Nope, that did not solve it. If we look at the errors that we've got here, it's saying 404. That means it couldn't find these files. The route is saying post/static vendor. Ah, I see. That's why. It's actually trying to set the static route inside of our template folder. Let's see if I can do something about that. Let's see. Why correct static? Okay. Let's run the server again and see about that. Okay. It's still not working for some reason because I'm guessing that the static files are being in the route of the template folder for some reason. This should not happen. If we look here. Hmm. Trying to figure this out. Yeah, you're getting the 404 errors. Yeah, it is. It's something in the configuration for the static folder. It should be under the block folder. Not fine, but it is under the. Okay. Green. But it is under the main folder. It is on the same level of the template. Interesting. The static is on the same level of the template folder. Let's see if we can, maybe it's something to do with the cache. Clear cache. Let's do this and see what happens. To clear your browser's cache, you can do, if you're on Mac, for example, you can do Command-Shift-4, I think. I'm not sure for Windows what's the command, but let's see. Hopefully, does this fix this? No, it did not fix this. That's not the cache as well. Well, interesting. So, Dr. Zainab Amara just posted in the chat. There is a survey. Please try to fill it if you're interested in any of the awards that have been mentioned. I think we have around 30 minutes left for our closing ceremony. Okay. Let's see. I'm not sure, maybe it is my browser that's doing this, anything like that. So we can have, maybe Arwa can check on her machine. Because sometimes unexpected things like that happen and you just end up sitting down for hours and trying to debug what's the issue. Let's see. Arwa, can you try and check on your machine for us?
Sure, sure. Just give me a second. So this is part of debugging. So this is totally normal. So you're getting into the development process. Don't get frustrated if you show an error. Nothing worked perfectly from the first time. All right. So let's try to run the server.
I can stop my screen share and I can share with you guys.
All right. So we do have our blog working here, and we have. Okay. So the static files is actually being loaded, but for some reason the HTML file is not reading it. So I'm guessing that the code has some kind of typo in it. Just give me a few seconds to debug it. I tried this code a few days ago, and the detailed page worked for me. But I don't know, maybe I just lost commerce something within the code. So let me refer to my original documentation. Okay. Do you all have the same error? Or I'm hoping one of you guys have it correctly. Please type in the chat. Yes, you have it. Is it working with you, Yusrana, or you're having the same error? Okay, okay. Base.html. Just see. So it's not extending the base HTML. So this is our biggest. Sorry, it's extending the HTML, but it's not being. It's not reading the static files. I'll be googling this error. Oh, let's see. Okay, so here we have the static URL. So just a quick information regarding the shifts. So it differs from one project to another, but sometimes some of the projects you will come across the static. Where is it? Okay. So the static folder here, it would be under the main with the template folder. All right. So that's what the dash is for here. But since in our project we made it under the main folder, we had to remove the static. Okay. So let's try to load static instead in our base. To refresh. Across. No. Sure, if this is gonna make a difference, to be honest, but let's just try to. So output is going and it's loading. Very, very interesting here, to be honest. Shaikha sent check how much. Having a static file directory. Let's try that actually. Let's try to add a static directory. So, okay. Try to add this code. I'll send it through the chat as well. So this is actually static code. I need to just change that. This is my last chance because we're out of time, to be honest. So I'll look into this error and I'll update you guys through Slack. I'll just try to add it here. Static routes. All right. So that means that I have to change within my URLs. Where is static route? Make sure that I'm doing this. Okay. So I need to look into this error further, to be honest. And since we're almost done, I'll keep this one. I'll just update you later on Slack. So again, if you haven't joined Slack, please do. The link is already in the chat. I'll send it again. Yeah, true. Thank you, Shaikha, for mentioning that. I'll just type the we install 2.2, correct? Static file directory. Yeah. I'll look into it. I'll update you guys later on. All right. Thank you all. At least you have a nice homepage. You're halfway there. We'll look into the static files. The code worked with me a few days ago, but I'm not sure if there is a typo or not. I'll look into it. I'll debug it tonight. And we're so excited. I hope you guys have enjoyed the workshop with us. And I'm guessing that we will be having the great to hear that. Thank you for the positive feedback. Please join Slack again to keep within our loop. Keep in mind that we're part of GDG and WTM Kuwait. We're a nonprofit organization. All of our workshops are for free and for the community. If you would like to participate, we welcome everyone. And yeah, and I think it's
I guess.
Tell me. Sure.
Yeah, I think we have around like 9 minutes before we start our closing ceremony. Maybe if you guys have any questions right now, you can ask them. and it's an open question session for 9 minutes. Yeah, stick around for our closing ceremony.
Anyone have a question regarding Django and everything? Okay, so I would like to mention a few things. Would there be another different workshop?
Dr. Zainab just mentioned that maybe we can have our quiz right now before we start our closing ceremony.
Okay.
Okay, I hope you guys have your Kahoots ready so we can have a quick one, right? Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen.
Yeah, take over.
All right. Okay, let's start. Make sure to join the Kahoot.it on your device